if you have any questions. If you have any questions during the session, you can feel free to post those into the chat. We will answer them at the end. We're going to save some time for Q&A, and we'll jump into talking about the reintroduction of the Bengaluru program and Khon Kaen reopening as a partnership. So my name is Belen Figueroa. I'm a USAC program advisor, and I advise for our Thailand programs and our China programs. I also work specifically with UNR students, but I myself was a USAC alum of the India program back in 2013, and I also did the Czech Republic program in Prague. And Brandon, would you like to introduce yourself now?
Sure. Thank you so much, Belen. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Benny. I am a program advisor here at USAC. I am advising the current program advisor for our India program. I have participated in the program. I'm really excited that I had that opportunity with USAC back in 2016. I am also the program advisor for our Japan and Korea programs, and I am one of the newest program advisors in the office here. I've been at USAC for about 3.5 months now. But we're really excited to talk to you about these two locations because they're excellent examples of USAC's philosophy of affordability and accessibility. But while on authentic and unique, non-traditional locations, our programs such as these two are incredibly affordable. They offer high quality academics and they have a very, very reliable on-site support. But before we get into those details, we will talk a bit more about the two program models that we have here at USAC. Okay, so USAC offers two different program models, specialty and partnership. Our Bengaluru program is a specialty program and our Khon Kaen program is a partnership program. Specialty programs are conducted on a host university campus where USAC coordinates our own staff, our own office and dedicated classroom spaces. What's really great about specialty programs are that specific sets of courses are only taught by USAC faculty. Furthermore, classes are solely taken by USAC students in many cases, but not always. But a neat perk about specialty programs is that housing is usually arranged for students by USAC. So we try and best to support you in that aspect as well, having a little less to worry about. But lastly, we just try to offer students as much cultural immersion opportunities as possible through tours, class outings, and class field trips as well. And then for our partnership programs, Belen will go a bit further into that.
Yes, thank you, Brandon. So our other program model that we have is a partnership model. So where our specialties are kind of USAC created in and out, top to bottom, our partnerships really allow us to expand our offerings around the world by partnering with universities and sending our students, directly to their campus similar to an exchange student. So there won't be a USAC staff on site, unlike a specialty that has an RD, but the student will be a part of their international student population. They do typically do a direct enrollment with the host university and have access to a wider range of, courses available through that university for their international students. Depending on the program, they might only be able to take the classes that are offered in English, but it's usually like a wider curriculum offering for students. As I mentioned, there's no USAC staff on site, but they will receive support from the host university's international office. So in a lot of cases, it's possible the student, maybe they're with a couple of other USAC students, but more often than not, there's a ton of other international students as well at that university who are their peers taking class alongside with them. And we do partner with universities that do offer, pretty good support to our students on site, but there will not be a USAC staff directly on site to run the program. The field trips and activities are also offered, but they're coordinated by the host university at their discretion. So they do vary a bit more in offerings. So a little bit about the specialty and partnership program models and how they differ. And then just to reiterate, the India program, Bengaluru, India, is a specialty program. In Khon Kaen, we did originally have this in 2018 as a specialty, but it is now going to be a partnership program. So if you're familiar with the former Khon Kaen program, it'll look a little bit different moving forward, but just keep that in mind as we go over the program reintroduction. We are going to start off with Bengaluru, India. So I'm going to pass it back to Brandon.
Great, thank you so much, Belen. So as a general overview, India is located in South Asia. It's often referred to as the Indian subcontinent that borders several other South Asian countries. So we are relaunching starting this fall of 2022 onwards, which includes the summer term that will start next year in 2023. The program fee for Bengaluru is $5,280. What is awesome about this low cost is that it's very comparable to in-state tuition costs and precedes out-of-state tuition costs by far. The city is the third largest city in India with a population of about 13 million people. The US dollar goes a very long way in India at about 75 rupees for only $1 US, which I loved when I was there. Students attend USAC courses at Christ University and can fulfill requirements that are inclusive of these listed majors here. But what is awesome is that Bengaluru is just the perfect option for the adventurous student. You know, while outside the classroom, one is often found exploring India's famous goods and spice bazaars, riding camels or elephants through UNESCO World Heritage Sites, engaging with students at Christ University's many campus events, and seeing world wonders such as the Taj Mahal. That was one of my favorite highlights while I was there. So next slide, please. Awesome. So we're going to get into a bit more about the program information. Another facet of this specialty program is that resident director Smriti Chabra, she ensures that students have a safe and enriching experience. Resident directors do everything in their power to achieve that. RDs help plan accommodations, academic and cultural programming, and are basically there for students 24/7 in case of any emergency, medical assistance, or just talking to them if they're feeling homesick. For example, there was a time when Smriti arranged for a turkey to be brought and cooked, and they had a big Thanksgiving feast, and students made dishes that all had a nostalgic, Thanksgiving story behind it. And while they could not be at home with their families for Thanksgiving, they did find family there. So in short, RDs like Smriti go well and above and beyond to provide support and care for our USAC students. But a bit more about our host university. It's Christ University. So it was founded in 1969, and USAC ran its first program there in 2006 and has pretty much ever since, with the exception of COVID. Christ is it's a beautiful campus that's located in the heart of the city. It has just lush greenery everywhere. It has calming and peaceful tones throughout the campus, and many friendly local students that bode well with our USACers. One aspect of Christ University that I loved personally was that the university puts a lot of emphasis on social and cultural activities for students. For example, every year in September, the university celebrates one of mine and Belen's favorite campus events, Ethnic Day. So Ethnic Day at Christ University recognizes languages, religions, countries, and course, and the cultures of the world. Many call it the most colorful day on campus. So all students are encouraged to dress in their favorite cultural garments, regional attire, and mingle with other students campus-wide, because it's a campus-wide event. There are cultural processions, poetry, dances, performances, all from around India and the world. So it's a great way to see more of India in this little hub in Bangalore. Christ University has a Center for Social Action, which is an on-campus organization that coordinates social sensitization programs for students and undertake community development projects for marginalized communities. So in the coming slides, you'll learn a bit more about the opportunities available for USACers through CSA. and we'll get into that in a little bit. I will mention that housing, fortunately, again, it's also arranged by USAC. It includes an on-campus residence hall for female identifying students, as well as off-campus student dorms for both male and female identifying students. There are certain benefits of either. For example, the on-campus residence hall has a curfew, whereas there's no curfew for off-campus housing. But oppositely, the residence hall requires no commute. But the off-campus option is just about a 10 to 15 minute walk to Christ University. In accordance with our safety standards, lots of security are provided for either option, which is great. And then lastly, internships are being reintroduced in the spring of 2023, and they contain many inclusive options for our students to pair with classes. And these internship fields include business, social media management, grant writing, human resources, and popular in India, NGO and social services, which are great outlets for you to again, pair with classes and get further ahead in your degree back home. But just please keep in mind that these internships are constantly changing, as well as our classes. So please refer to our website for the most up-to-date information about our internships offered in Bengaluru. Awesome. Next slide for me, please. Thank you. So again, this is a specialty program. So USAC not only curates the courses, but directly runs them as well, using actual Christ University staff. Currently, these are the courses on offer for the upcoming fall and spring semesters. Just be advised that these courses are always being adjusted. This list is the most up-to-date, but we are constantly revisiting the process of adding or removing courses just based off of varying needs. So registration for these courses are fairly simple. It's mainly just a check mark on a list. So very simple. I loved it compared to many other course registration requirements. It's very simple. There are mostly 3 credit courses with 2 1-credit offerings. And I will note that the 1-credit population and poverty field study must be taken with its main course as a co-requisite. So making sure to pair those together. And the population and poverty field study cannot be taken on its own. So just don't forget that minimum of 12 credits are required for each student to take, minus September. And next slide, please. Thank you. So classes that students will be taking are primarily lecture-based. However, most of our professors have adapted to a lecture and discussion-based teaching model, and they prepare their lectures on PowerPoints for each class, and they are made available for students to refer to when needed. They usually provide copies to our students. In addition, professors also provide reading material, documentaries to watch, and my personal favorite, the professors take them on field trips. That was one of my favorite parts of my experience. And guess what? It's all free. Our Bengaluru program it heavily emphasizes the idea of learning outside of the classroom and in the culture. They do this by having students get hands-on experiences, field studies, interacting with local experts and other professors on campus, and just many other learning activities in and around the city, which is really great that we have on offer. And moving on to the evaluation or grading style, it varies by each professor. Students are required to submit assignments in the form of papers, presentations, reflections, and that is all in addition to a midterm and final examination. So it's just similar to courses in the US. The evaluation process for each class is shared with students during orientation, like syllabi and whatnot. Great. So I have a video here that I wanted to share. Let's see. I guess that might not work.
Sorry about that. Let me try to sign in. I didn't realize I was not.
Yeah, so this little video that I have here, hopefully if we're able to get it shown, is just a little video about our Bengaluru students that were in India in 2019. It was amazing, 2019, they were able to get Smriti, our resident director, in the video and just able to give all of their thoughts and opinions, kind of their testimonials on India and how life-changing it's been for them. Great, looks like we got it going here. Hopefully it'll, hopefully it'll work. Let's see. Great, and it is captioned as well. So if your audio isn't the best, you can certainly read it.
It has captions. Do you want me to stop it?
You can turn it on. Awesome, great. So I know that we had a few audio issues, but I'm glad that it was captioned, so all wasn't lost. Unfortunately, our Netflix subtitle readings have come into play. But this video to me is a great way to be introduced to India, and just from hearing from the student itself, you know, us as advisors can tell you and give you all that you need to do to prepare, but at the end of the day, you know, it's your experience and your fellow students, and their opinions will matter. So I'm glad that we could share that with you. And if you would like to see the video and the audio, again, I'll share my contact information with you at the end of this slide, and I can go ahead and share that video with you. So onto our activities and optional tours. Again, as the students were saying, you know, one of their most favorite parts of India was outside of the classroom, which is good. There are plenty of activities to do while at Christ, or while in India overall, like gastronomical. We love having students eat their way through the city. Eating is such a perfect way to be immersed in the culture. Sari shopping, meditation and yoga seminars, as well as celebrating intimate holidays are some of the many instances in which USAC staff like Smriti actively, you know, promote or help organize and participate with you in. Smriti, our resident director here there in India, love to invite students to her home and celebrate intimate holidays such as Diwali or Holi with our students. So that's also an amazing way that Smriti helps support our students, you know, and nuance their experiences. To be better acquainted with our with the Christ University local students, USACers are welcome to join on-campus clubs and activities, like sports or theater, for example. I know that our students once played in the Christ University football and basketball teams, and they won. So that was an amazing experience for them. Students are often taken on heritage tours and other different tours around Bangalore or Bengaluru. You'll often hear the two varying names. I refer to it, I know it as Bangalore, but Bengaluru is the new name change, and to surrounding villages when we take our students on our tours. They do activities in these different locations, but it's to also see the two different lifestyles of India. Life in rural villages or smaller cities, but oppositely in large mega cities. You know, Bangalore, again, I mentioned it's over 13 million people. That's the population of a few different countries combined just in the city alone. So it's definitely some variations between the two, and you will see them on these different tours in and around Bangalore. And you'll also get to be on our optional tours that are currently on offer for our students. So the North India tour, which was the tour that I went on, it's offered in the fall, and students get to explore the ancient Golden Triangle of India. That starts off with seeing some amazing temple ruins in Delhi, unique palaces such as the Floating Palace and the Jal Mahal in Jaipur, as well as ending the tour on the footwells of the Great Taj Mahal, which is often an amazing euphoric experience for our students, including myself. And during the spring Southern India tour, students can basically just find themselves sleeping on houseboats, caravanning through coconut lagoons, drowning in delicious masala chai. I know that's mine and Bellen's favorite. And just participating in lots of cultural dances and just the traditions in the state of Kerala. So these are the two tours that are on offer. Again, they are semester specific, so just keep that in mind when you're looking at our program calendar. And on our next slide, Belen is going to speak to you on the reopening of our Khon Kaen Thailand program. Take it away, Belen.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I always love hearing about the India program as an alum, my first study abroad. It's wonderful, and I'm so excited to reopen it. As I mentioned before, the Khon Kaen program was previously opened as a specialty, and we are now reopening as a partnership, also for the first time since COVID. So it will look a little bit different. I'm really excited to get into the details of what this will look like. Oh, there we go. So a couple of nuances with this program is that the Thailand academic calendar does run a little differently than the US academic calendar. And so for this partnership program, there is a semester 1 and a semester 1 and 2, which is essentially year long. So the semester 1 program runs from July through November. It's actually like late June through November. And then semester 1 and 2 is July through April. And one of the really exciting things about this program in particular is that, even at a partnership level, this program is actually the most affordable USAC program that we have. One semester is $3,680, or you can do the, semester 1 and 2 quote unquote year-long program for $6,680, which is, I think, for a lot of students, if not most of them, could be cheaper than their in-state tuition. And so that's definitely something to consider, because it is, our certainly most affordable program that we've offered. And the fact that it's a partnership program, and the housing is also incredibly affordable. So anywhere from $300 to $950 for the entire semester. It's, just, I feel honestly unheard of. And so I'm really excited. I think that the fees will definitely attract students. So if you're someone on a budget who wants to study abroad, look no further. India, of course, is also very affordable as well. So you might not know about Khon Kaen. We do have another program in Chiang Mai, which is a specialty program. And the Chiang Mai city is like a larger international city. And you might have heard of it. Maybe you've heard of like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Phuket within Thailand, but Khon Kaen is definitely going to give you that more off the beaten path, authentic feel. It is a smaller mid-sized city in Isan. And so the Isan region is actually a blend of Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand, and those cultures in that region. So kind of, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, like right here. And so Khon Kaen is really at the heart of it. And, you might have this idea of cities in Asia that are maybe more densely populated, and there's like, cars going anywhere from like the end of the street to the other end of the street with different directions, and motorcycles and people going onto the sidewalks, and it's just like busy and very populated. And Khon Kaen is actually going to have a very different feel. It's kind of not in the middle of nowhere necessarily, but it's not densely populated. There's 100% room to spread, so wide open streets, a lot of people driving cars. So you'll see like less motorbikes there. Definitely kind of has a more suburban feel. So like a lot of houses in a little suburb area versus maybe like apartments and apartment buildings that are like built really high. And the currency there in Thailand is the Thai baht. So $1 is about 30 Thai baht. And Thailand is already it's a very inexpensive country, but even compared to Chiang Mai, which is a more international city, your dollar will go significantly further in Khon Kaen. To give you an idea, you can get a meal in Chiang Mai for anywhere from like $3 to $5. And in Khon Kaen, it's like easily anywhere from like $1 to $3. Of course, you can always get more food, make it go higher, but for the most part, very, very inexpensive. The host university that we have in Khon Kaen, I'm happy to announce, is still the same host university that we had when it was a specialty. So Khon Kaen University, which is one of the top universities in Thailand, and we have just absolutely loved their program and their structure and what they've offered for our students in the past. And so we're excited to start this new relationship with them as a partnership. And the previous program did have some health-related courses, but within Khon Kaen University, our students will have access to a wider range of courses, anywhere in international affairs. Journalism is a great one, creative media, international business, marketing, tourism, and entrepreneurship, which I think is a really great program in and of itself. In general, Khon Kaen is really great for, students who are adventurous and they really want to see something a little bit different, a little bit more. They may be familiar with Asia, and maybe this time they want more of a challenge. And so because Khon Kaen is not as much of an international city, they are going to get kind of like, this is where a lot of the locals, like Khon Kaen it's a larger city where people within Thailand might go to Khon Kaen for the weekend and visit it and go to the museums and check out the landscape landscape, a lot of the lakes in that area, but not necessarily an international destination. So it'll be really great to get that authentic experience in Khon Kaen. A little bit more about Khon Kaen University, or KKU as we call it. It is one of the top universities in Thailand. It's actually renowned for its research in a lot of different fields. I tell people all the time that the campus is massive. It's honestly with its own little town. It sits like on, I forget how many acres it is exactly, but I did the math when I came back from visiting because I was just blown away by how like big the campus was. You need a vehicle to get from like building to building sometimes. It has its own bus system that has over like 7 to 10 different bus routes and its own app. So you can see where the buses are and tells you which one to take. But it's about 14 times the size of Disneyland in Los Angeles. So if you've been to Disneyland, it's 14 times the size of that. Truly, again, its own little town within a town. Students on campus do wear a uniform. And so for the guys, it'll be black slacks. For the females, it'll be black skirts, and everyone's got to wear a white collar button down shirt. And so universities will have their own colors and accoutrements. For Khon Kaen University, they're blue. And this really is like a symbol of pride. Wearing the uniform, it shows a symbol of pride in your education and that you were accepted into a higher education institution. And so our students also wear the uniform on campus. Definitely helps them blend in, assimilate, and get that cultural immersion of what it's like to be a Thai student abroad. And then student complex. This is actually, I think for most universities in the US, would be similar to like a student union. But student complex, again, like I said, the campus is massive, and it can be difficult to get around without maybe a vehicle, or if the buses aren't running, they're always running. But it's a lot, again, its own little city. But the complex kind of creates it so you don't necessarily have to leave the campus for some, running errands. So complex will have, you can get like haircut. They have like a full salon service. They've got travel guides and, travel agents that can help you book buses. You can book flights, hotels, arrange your travel, and electronics repairs, anything that you can think of. It's its own little like shopping mall, but also like a living community. There's tons of clubs and activities for students to join on campus. There's academic clubs, art and culture clubs, volunteer clubs, a lot of different like club sports as well. There's also academic mentoring, which is a little bit different than tutoring. And so if a student is struggling in a particular class, they can sign up for academic mentoring and get someone to help them through that subject throughout the semester. The program housing, again, very inexpensive. We do offer on-campus and off-campus apartments. Well, the on-campus is dorms, and off-campus are the apartments. And the apartments are located, honestly, just off the main campus. And so there is a shuttle that goes directly to those off-campus apartments. And so students don't have to walk very far to get into campus. And there are single and double rooms available. As far as cultural immersion within Khon Kaen, students are really going to be diving in headfirst into learning Thai. So it's not an international city, and a lot of locals do grow up like learning English in like elementary school and middle school. But for the most part, the students are really going to be tested on how to overcome that language barrier, and their Thai language skills are going to develop a lot faster than their counterparts in Chiang Mai. We actually, when I went to go visit the students, I had the chance to, have some Chiang Mai students and some Khon Kaen students together. And it was towards the end of the program, and it was like staggering to see how much further developed the students in Khon Kaen, their language was in Thai. And so you'll definitely be diving in headfirst into that. The Khon Kaen region in general has a lot of great like hiking and trekking areas nearby, tons of national parks. You can visit ancient ruins, there's lakes, definitely a lot of places to visit nearby. And then within the area, as far as like activities that you can do on your own, there's basket weaving, there's pottery, Muay Thai, Thai dance, performing arts, always a ton of events happening on campus in their theater department, a lot of production, a lot of night markets to engage with. So lots of things to do and see within Khon Kaen. And then we did go over the majors that were offered at Khon Kaen University through their international college, but I really want to highlight some of these that I think are really unique, specifically international entrepreneurship. This program is designed to build, students with the knowledge and skills necessary to start and grow their own business successfully at an international level. So it kind of adds a little bit of like that extra cherry on top for those who want to pursue starting their own business and possibly an international business. Tourism management is another one. I mean, Thailand's economy is really big on tourism. And so getting to learn about that within Thailand, I think is a great experience for anyone interested in that field. And my personal favorite, creative media technology and international journalism. I was looking at this, I myself was an international affairs and journalism major, and looking at the courses that are offered, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish this was offered when I was studying abroad. It's a great opportunity to learn about investigative journalism, ethical journalism, and a lot of, the new platforms in media technology, learning how to use those and incorporate them into whatever it is that you want to study is, I think, a really awesome class. So if you just want to peruse our website to see the actual courses that are offered within these majors, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised with what's offered. And so a little bit more about Khon Kaen to really get an understanding of, what that city is going to feel like. So it is a smaller city with a big city feel. And what I mean by that is that it used to be a, smaller village kind of in like the flatlands of Khon Kaen. And in the last 20 years, it just like completely like the population really grew very fast. It became a very modern city very quick, much more industrialized. And so it grew so fast. You can still see it's like village roots. You'll see down below, I've got the quote, "You can see the rice fields from the city," is what people said when I visited and, was asking them like, what kind of city feel does this give you? Lots of biodiversity nearby. So if you're someone who likes to sightsee, but also likes to to do bird watching or, engage with like new terrain and maybe see some interesting animals and, just go off for a weekend and see where the nature takes you, so to speak, this is a great place for that. It can also be a bit challenging, but very rewarding experience for visitors. So again, that just kind of goes back to, it's not a very international city. And so in this case, the population might not be as used to having quite a diverse or, international students engaging with their city. I mean, on campus, yes, but it's also going to be something that students really do. They'll be forced to like break out of their own barriers and their circles to really engage with the community. And make the effort to engage through, learning what they can about the local language and how to get around. And so I think, again, having gotten to see students from both the Chiang Mai part program and the Khon Kaen program, I do feel like the students in Khon Kaen were much more like ready to engage and adapt. And just because in Khon Kaen, you kind of have to do that, you have to be willing to take a bit more initiative. So really great for explorers who really want to see more of, I mean, honestly, all of Thailand. It's very accessible. Khon Kaen University. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I tell students at Khon Kaen University, it's like 20 minutes from the airport. And the airport will fly to, a lot of local domestic locations, and it's very easy, inexpensive. You can do it for like a $20 flight to Bangkok, and that's probably on the higher end. It's easy to travel to like everywhere else in that region from Khon Kaen because they do have both a international train station and the airport right there by the university. And so I also wasn't surprised to see that students on this program were also traveling like every weekend, every break that they had to go see these other like nearby places that otherwise would have been maybe required some days off or extensive travel. So really great location for quick getaways. So what's next? I will pass this back on to Brandon to kind of go over, if you're interested in learning more about these programs, what you can do.
Great, yeah, great. Yes, thank you so much, Belen. Yeah, so as for what is next, we have a few different points of information to keep in mind. We recommend that you look first at the course offerings for each program on our respective program sites. It's fairly simple, just usac.edu, and then we have on here just the different navigations for the program that you would like to be on, either Bengaluru or Khon Kaen. Just keep in mind, again, Khon Kaen semesters run a little bit differently than our traditional fall and spring semesters that we are used to. For India, we have some application deadlines listed here for the fall and year long. It is upcoming May 1st of 2022. So that is in about 2 months. You have a bit of time there to kind of get your things together, such as your application material. In the spring, if you would like to go in the spring, we are having that deadline as October 1st. That is later this year. And then for summer of 2023 for next year, the application deadline is coming soon. So again, just keep your eyes peeled on our website. And for Thailand, for Khon Kaen, we have, again, semester 1 and semester 2. Our semester 1 and 2, both are due on April 1st. So that is about a month from now. So still some time to get your application material together. We are definitely looking forward to seeing your name pop up soon. To our next slide.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah. Great. So we've kind of reached towards the end of our presentation today. Does anyone have any questions for us that we could probably answer?
Hi, thank you so much. I have a quick question. I'm sorry if you mentioned it. I had to step out to talk to a colleague for a second, but what is the nursing dorm and the Khon Kaen program fee? Like, students are just asking me what this means.
Are you asking what the nursing dorm is or what the fee is?
What the nursing dorm is. So they're just asking me, like, what is a nursing dorm? How is it different?
Oh, I see. I understand. So at Khon Kaen University, they do have dorms based off of, like, some of them are based off of majors, and so like the nursing dorm would maybe have other nursing students, and that's just kind of how they're categorized. But when it comes to having international students on campus, sometimes they're like, okay, we can house them here or we can house them there, and so the nursing dorm is where our students will be staying. So that just means that when they get to campus, and they get to where the dorms are, there's going to be like signs for like this dorm, that dorm, that dorm. They're going to go to the one that says nursing dorm, and that's where they will be placed. So it really just is like the building that they'll be in.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I've never seen that. Usually it just says on campus, so all my
Yes.
students are wondering, like, what kind of weird this could be, but I guess it's just,
no, they won't be required to do any like patient care while they're there.
Are there any other questions from the audience here? I know we had 2 questions that came in prior from people who are hoping to catch the recording later, but still had a few questions. So if you don't have any questions right now, the first question we received earlier was, what type of student normally goes to one of these programs?
Yeah, I can definitely talk a little bit about Khon Kaen. I kind of mentioned it a little bit at the end there. I think in general, study abroad attracts students who are adventurous. So it's not really fair to say, like, some are more adventurous than others, because I think definitely all students who decide to take the plunge, regardless of where they go, are definitely adventurous. For Khon Kaen specifically, and students who want to get like a taste of Asia, so to speak, because they really are drawn to that region, that culture, for whatever reason, there's definitely like levels of comfort, and it's really easy wherever you go truly to create a bubble for yourself and stay in your little comfort zone. You can basically, the experience is what you make it, and your immersion is what you make it. And I feel like for students who choose to go to Khon Kaen, it's like there is no bubble, they have none. It's like it's popped before they even get there. And so definitely for those students, it's like they're ready for anything. Like there's only so much you can do to prepare for going to this small authentic Thai city. And so the type of student who goes is the one who's probably not asking like the super, what is this going to be like, or what is that going to be like? They just want like a general response, and they're like, okay, that's great. When I get there, I'll figure it out. And these are the students who are more like drawn to like wanting to go there no matter what, versus maybe looking for like a very specific location or a place. These students are really looking for something that's going to be new and eye-opening, and that they probably don't want to know too much about beforehand, because they know that they're going to experience on site.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions here from the audience before I go to the second question that was submitted beforehand? You can go ahead and leave it in the chat if you'd like, or if you'd like to turn on your camera, that either option is acceptable. All right, so the second question we got in prior to the start of the presentation was, how do students normally prepare for these programs? What should they be doing or thinking about beforehand before they leave to go to India or to Thailand, to either of these programs?
I could probably answer that for India, and how to prepare. My favorite thing that I was telling some of my friends when they went to India is to visit a local temple. In many cities across the US, including here in Reno, we have many different temples that are reflective of the many different faiths that are in India, like Sikh temples, Hindu temples, gurudwaras. And I always recommend for my friends, even if they don't want to go to India and they just want a different, experience, religious wise, go to a temple. There are a lot of different things that you can learn that can be taught. And even, just knowing a little bit more about India and the history of the country, and, different religious, mixtures across the country. I also, recommend visiting an Indian restaurant. Again, I'm a big foodie myself, and I definitely meant it when I said, eat your way through villages, because that's exactly what I did. And, visiting an Indian restaurant, you can find an Indian restaurant in many different, pretty much in like almost every single city here in the US, there's going to be an Indian restaurant, and head over there. Try different foods. You will definitely be introduced to that, and that'll be a good way to get introduced to the Indian society, culture, food, without necessarily going there yet, before you get there. And there's different resources on the web, like our blog, for example, the USAC blog. There are many different resources on there that our alumni, such as myself, you'll see some of my different articles on there, as well as other alumni of the Bengaluru program, just positing some of their experiences there. So there are different resources for people to use that I recommend to prepare, at least, yes, for when they go to India.
Yeah, and for Thailand, Khon Kaen in particular, food is also a big one that I would prepare students for. So Thailand in general can be very vegetarian, vegan friendly. However, in Khon Kaen, and because it is in the Isan region, their cuisine, they do have their own regional cuisine. And so I tell students that for the most part, a lot of the Thai food that is, Americanized Thai food, or, even authentic Thai food that you'll find in America, a lot of it is actually from the northern region. So like curries, like red curry, yellow curry, green curry that you might be familiar with, pad Thai. Those are all regional dishes. Isan dishes are not quite as, I don't see them very frequently on the menu when I go to Thai restaurants. They're not quite as like westernized here, but that is something I would tell students to look into, especially if it comes to like any dietary restrictions. Everything can be found in Khon Kaen, but you will see that like the street food that you'll see in Bangkok will be different than what you see in Khon Kaen, will be different than what you see in Chiang Mai. And so if you're used to an idea of like, the Thai food that you're used to seeing from your like favorite Thai food spot, it might be different than in Khon Kaen. And so definitely preparing for those types of differences, but also I tell students kind of prepare to be unprepared. The best thing you can do is kind of ask yourself questions like, okay, like language barrier, if I have to, get home and maybe my phone isn't working, like do I feel comfortable trying to take the rodangs or the songtaos, or like the rickshaws, how would I do that? Or, if I need X, Y, and Z, like how would I approach that? So I tell students, I kind of like guide them through these questions that they can think about how they might react or what their comfort level would be. And those are kind of like, okay, well, it seems like maybe you're not comfortable with the travel component. That's something that you can work on to prepare yourself beforehand. Because every student, their level of need for preparation will vary. But if you kind of ask them the right questions, it helps them reflect, and they can on their own see kind of where they need to work on certain parts of it.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. We have a few more minutes in case there are any last minute questions. But if not, we really want to thank you guys so much for coming.
Tyler, we do have an activity.
Oh, we do have an activity. All right. If you want to go ahead and do that.
And feel free, if a question does pop into your head, feel free to throw it into the chat or unmute yourself and share it. But because, Thailand and India are very unique cultures and they're very close together. I think you can take a flight from Bangalore to Bangkok for like $100 round trip. Don't quote me on that. It could be cheaper, actually. Most of the time, the prices that I quote, it ends up being cheaper in reality. But it's like, we have a little this or that. So is it like India or is it Thailand? For this one, feel free to put your answers in the chat. So this is a traditional breakfast of either India or Thailand. And so you guys get to guess which one you think, which culture you think this traditional breakfast is for.
Do you know what is showing in this?
Yes, so this is a dosa. So it is like a kind of like a crepe in the middle. In the center of this crepe, like literally just in the center, there's going to be like a potato filling. And so these right here, these little white things are kind of like these rice biscuits, I guess. It's made from, they're very fluffy. And you like pull them apart and you can dip them into like the different sambars, the different sauces. Okay, so this one wasn't fooling anybody. It is India. Dosa is a very, very popular traditional Indian breakfast. Let's see if the next one can stump you guys. So this jungle landscape, you can let us know if you think this is from India or Thailand. This one might be a little bit harder.
A lot of Thailand so far.
Just because the first one was India. Oh, someone said it could be Kerala. Yeah, so that's definitely like the fun part, is that because both Thailand and India share borders, with the ocean, you do get a lot of parts of the country that have these like canals, beaches for sure, but also the jungle landscape is not, it's definitely in both India and Thailand. This particular one is actually Thailand. And so I did try to pick one that looked a little bit like India, but didn't fool a lot of you guys. But yes, it could have been Kerala for sure. So this is a temple. I didn't mention this before, but Thailand itself has, over 40,000 Buddhist temples, and Brandon was talking about the Hindu temples. And so this is definitely one of them. And you guys can guess which temple you think for which country. This is definitely one of the bigger, nicer ones for either country. Temples are very like abundant in both India and Thailand, and it'll be anywhere from like a tiny one that you feel like only like 4 or 5 people can fit at a time to like massive ones, truly. So they do vary a lot in size.
Interesting mix of responses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have some for Thailand, have some for India.
We finally stumped them.
Yeah, I think we did. Okay, all right. Belen, do you want to do the reveal?
Yes, it is, drum roll, India. So this is a Hindu temple. If you Google Hindu temples, you'll definitely come across a lot of different styles. However, the Buddhist temples, I guess maybe not necessarily just the temples, you will see that the architecture within Thailand and India do vary. And so in India, they do have a lot of domes. Domes are definitely, domes and pillars In Thai architecture, you will see a lot of, well, actually, I don't want to give anything away because there's more this or that. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue with the next one. So transportation, this is, these are called like either tuk-tuks or they're called rodangs, or there's so many different names for them, rickshaws. And basically it's just like a three-wheeled motorized vehicle transportation that is common transportation in this country.
I will say these are very, very, yeah, they're very cheap, very affordable. Me personally, I was going from my Koramangala apartments to Christ University, and a ride on these little rickshaws were very cheap, about maybe like $1.70, 75 cents a dollar for these like little tuk-tuk rides.
Yeah, and the names are also like, it can vary. So like, you know, tuk-tuk or rickshaw, or there's a lot of countries in Asia, similar transportation that have different names for it. But yeah, a lot of very specific answers. And I do see, looks like Holly got it, that it was a trick question, I think, because it is both. So on this one, you will see they are the same type of transportation, but on the left-hand side, we have the tuk-tuks, which are more popular in like Bangkok. They do have them throughout Thailand, but the tuk-tuk on the right-hand side, the green and yellow, is, you'll find them everywhere in India. So yeah, it was a trick question, but good job, you guys. So as far as our program cities are concerned, I guess this one would be Bengaluru or Khon Kaen. This is definitely taken from one of our program city sites. Well, that didn't fool anyone either. I think I gave it away with talking about the architecture before I had shown this one, but you'll see that Thai architecture, you'll have a lot of these, I forget what they're called, but they're very tall and pointy, and that's kind of, instead of having domes, they'll have that kind of decor in their architecture. And then this is a traditional dessert. Does anyone know if this would belong to India or Thailand? This is, you've got some rice in there, some mango slices, and that's all I'll say about it.
That looks very delicious.
Very, very delicious. Can anyone name the actual dessert? I gave 2 of the 3 words.
We have Sabrina mango sticky rice from Thailand.
And that is correct. It is mango sticky rice. And it is a traditional Thai dessert all over Thailand. So it is yummy, delicious. If you haven't had it or you've seen it on a menu and never ordered it, I highly recommend it. It is very delicious.
And then Laura, is it kheer? Okay, yeah. I love kheer myself. Kheer is a great Indian.
Yeah, it is not
well.
kheer, well, because in Thailand, so the sauce is made with like a condensed sweetened milk. But this last one, henna, so like a body art, cultural designs on the body.
Okay, so we have 3 for India, 4 for India. Okay. Some solid answers here. All right. I guess we could probably do the reveal.
Yes, it is no surprise to anybody that it is India. I'm glad to know the ones that everyone gets right. It makes me happy. I've definitely worked with some students who are like, oh yeah, like this is what they did at our carnival or something in this one city. And I'm like, oh no, but this is from Indian culture. And they have no idea. So I like that people know that this is definitely a part of Indian culture, and they will do it all over their arms and their feet to celebrate milestones, weddings, birthdays, you know, maybe it's just a Tuesday afternoon and you've got nothing else to do. It's really fun. And students can do that. There's a henna party that we arrange for students on site as well. I think Brennan mentioned that. And that was the last one. So thank you to everyone who attended today and participated. It was a pleasure getting to meet you all and talk to you about these programs. Hopefully we get a lot of students. If you are a student who's interested in going, Brennan and I hope to work with you very soon. And if you have any last minute burning questions, now is the time to ask him. But otherwise, thank you again so much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining this presentation. Feel free to check out our website. This is actually the last event of our USAC week. So thank you guys, everyone who came and joined us all week for our series of events. Feel free to reach us at studyabroad@usac.edu, or you could reach out to Belen or Brandon directly for any questions you have on these programs. But I'll go ahead and end the recording here. Thank you guys so much.